I've explained to you guys already how to send something off as a digital file. Now, if you want to see how to get something ready for printing, we're going to have a few things configured on our computer. InDesign needs to have a printer installed or a virtual printer installed in order to properly configure things for printing. And the easiest thing to do is probably just to go in and add a printer. Now, as a student, you're going to need me to come around and give you permission, but you can find this by going into your system preferences and then going to printers and scanners. To add a printer, we're just going to go in here and click plus. You won't be able to do that yet. You'll have a lock here on your computer, but if you can get your screen pulled up to this spot, I will guide you in going in there, adding a printer. Basically what you do on a Mac is you find the name of the printer. Most people don't have 1,000 printers connected, so you can just go in, wait for the thing to load its software drivers, and click add. You can see on here I've already got our classroom printer added right here. That's what I'm going to use to make these settings for printing my document. So when I go into InDesign, since this thing is a booklet, if I want to see this thing in the real world and not just on a computer screen, I have to go to File, Print Booklet. And then, when I'm in my print booklet settings, right, mine's already configured properly, but what's probably happened on yours is that you're going to have to go in here. Let me just put this back to where it should be to begin with. And it's still not messing up, but that's fine. To set this correctly, you need to go into your print settings. You need to set that you have a PPD for the current printer you're trying to use. And you're also going to want to set up that your pages feed there in a landscape fashion. The reason why that is because if you don't have that here, so that's landscape. If I put this back and say that my page feeding is portrait, notice what happens is when we look at the layout, it tries to put it on the page the wrong way. And what'll happen is when you try to print this, you'll just like lose half your page. It'll be sideways. It'll look bad. So let's go in, change our page layout to be oriented with landscape, say OK. Now, I want my printer here to be set to a PostScript file. The reason why that is if I have it as a PostScript file, if I find mistakes that are generated based on the order that it sets up the pages, we're all good. The booklet we've made is a saddle stitch booklet, right? That means we're going to staple it down the middle. A perfect bound booklet would be where the pages are glued together. That's not us. Saddle stitch. Again, we'll just go ahead and say print with our PostScript file settings. We're going to save that in a good folder. I'm just going to make sure that I call this thing print, and it's going to want me to change the end here to be .ps, or if I don't do that, we'll see what happens. I'll show you. It'll say that it needs to have the .ps ending. We want to say use ps, and that's okay. That's a PostScript file. PostScript is what printers read. And when you go to print something in Microsoft Word, it has to convert it to PostScript first. So when we go into our Finder, and we go to our project here, if I go into my project for my program, I now have a PostScript file here called basketball program print 1, right? And if I open that in preview, it will convert my PostScript file into something we can look at on the computer. It just takes a second here, converting page 4 of 4. So if we print this, the only thing that sometimes can get messed up in the printer is that sometimes the printer needs every other page to be upside down based on the way that it feeds pages. You can go in and fix that by going to, where is rotate on here? File. Let's see what menu item it is. I want you to know where you can find it in there. It's under Tools Rotate. I've always just done it by hitting on my keyboard Command R to rotate. So now, for whatever reason, when I send my copy to the printer on my computer, I need every other page upside down. So that will print a nice, neat booklet. The best thing always is to just print one copy of your thing, see how it goes, and then once you've figured out how it needs to be, save that, reuse it again and again and again after you've made sure all your settings are correct. So once I think I have everything ready to go to the printer, I just need to hit Command P or go to File, Print, and send it to the printer. I'm going to print one copy to test. Hopefully everything comes out right. If not, you can always look at it, experiment. Learning to set up things on a printer is always a little tricky, especially because every printer is different based on how it reads and interprets this feed data. You kind of just have to learn to know your printer. So that's sending things to a printer from InDesign.